know this isn't the best setup, but it's the best I can do at the moment, and I really want to get these overviews filmed to share with you guys, so I hope you don't mind that we're filming on my sofa. And I'm going to try and keep these as brief as possible. If you want a kind of ranking video of categories, let me know and I will happily film those individually, but these overviews are just going to be showing products that I own, what is in my collection. I might mention here and there if something is a favourite or if I've not used something. There's going to be a light decluttering throughout this, but not an awful lot, so you know, don't get your hopes up. So let's dive straight in with my setting sprays. You may have noticed over here I do have 3 of the same thing. These are the Glow Revolution Prime Set and Glow in the shade Eternal Gold, which I have 3 of. I have 2 unopened and 1 that has been ever so slightly used. I clearly enjoy them if I have multiples. Speaking of multiples, we have the collection Primed and Ready Dewy Fix Spray, which I've gone through 2 of before and I have 2 left of. I have a couple of other Revolution fixing sprays. We have the Glow Fix, which I don't really care for, and the Hyaluronic Fix, which I adore. It is very similar to the collection one. Then we have the Mark Magic setting spray, which again I don't really love. It's very old school setting spray. It feels a bit like you're spraying hairspray on your face. And then we have the Pixie ones, which I love both. The mister doesn't hold up on them though, so I'm going to transfer these products into different bottles. I have the Glow Mist and I have the classic makeup fixing mist, and then I have the Pretty Fresh HA setting mist from Colourpop, which is a new edition. I've only used it once, so we'll see how we get on with that guy. So that is my setting spray collection, and I'm going to work on using these guys up over the next year. Next up we have my primers. As you can see, I have a lot of primers. When I was filming my inventory, which if you haven't seen will be linked in the info box, I couldn't quite understand why I had so many primers. I was looking over at my display and thinking, you know, I don't see how I have so many primers, and then I remembered that a lot of them were tucked away in a drawer. So here they all are in their glory. So I'll quickly run through them with you. I have 2 of the Remote Lasting Finish. These I got in like a gift with purchase goodie box from Boots. I've gone through several tubes of this in the past. I really enjoy it. It's a very good long wearing foundation primer. Same with the YSL All Hours foundation primer. One of my all-time favourites was the Max Factor Facefinity primer. They still have the Facefinity foundation, but just not the primer, so this is what I'm working with now. I have a couple of number 7. These are both from the Airbrush Away range. We have the Colour Balancing and the Radiance Boosting Primer. Speaking of colour correcting, I have one from L'Oreal, the Infallible Anti-Redness. This is a very liquidy colour correcting primer. It doesn't do anything primer-esque, it's just colour correcting. I also have this one from Revolution Pro, Anti-Redness. I haven't used this one yet, so I can't really comment on it, but I do have several other Revolution foundation primers here. We have the Beam Dream from Revolution Glow. I haven't used this one a whole lot, but it does have a really nice sort of pink iridescence to it, so I'm looking forward to trying it. We have the Glass Liquid Skin Illuminating Primer, which doesn't really do anything other than put like a sort of shimmer on the surface of the skin. The Revolution Pro Hydra Matte Primer, I really do enjoy that one. The Prime and Hydrate from Revolution Pro, also good. The Super Dewy, enjoy this one. And the Revolution Fix and Glow. I don't think there's going to be any decluttering going on in this section because I do enjoy most of my primers. I have 3 from Becca. I have the First Light Priming Filter, which I didn't quite get the hype on, to be honest. It's nice, but I don't get the hype. And then I have 2 of the Backlight Priming Filter. I have one that's lightly used and one as a backup. I have a couple of Avon primers. This is the Lisa Armstrong All About Base Moisturizing Primer. It's basically a kind of dupe of the Bobbi Brown one. Yeah. I've used it a couple of times, but not enough to give a full review on. We have the new Skin Transforming Primer, which is nice, and the Marc Magic's Face Perfector, which is sort of like pore filling primer. Speaking of pore filling, we have the Lancome La Base Pro, which is just your classic silicone primer. I have 2 of the Clarins samples of the Instant Smooth Perfecting Touch, which again is like this putty primer for filling in pores. And of course the Pore Minimizing Primer from Smashbox. Again, just a little mini travel size. Just with these alone, I don't think I'd ever need to buy a pore filling primer again, because I use so little of these. They're definitely products that you don't want to put all over your face. I have the Photography Fluid Opacity 12 from Nyod, which Jamie Genevieve raved about. If there was one product I wouldn't, that I might part ways with, this would probably be it, because it doesn't really do a whole lot, but it was super expensive, so we're going to use that guy up. And then we have the Laura Mercier Radiance Primer, which I think this one's been discontinued when they redid the whole range. I have the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which I've got over half left, like 3/4 of it left, so I'm going to work on using that in the next year. And then we have this big daddy, the Nivea Men Cooling Post Shave Balm, which I'm going to decant into my empty Facefinity primer bottle. And this actually really reminds me of the Facefinity. It has that same sort of texture and is slightly thinner. And it only costs like £4, and you get 100 mils, which is so value for money. So there we are. There are my primer collection. Is a lot, and it's definitely going to be an area that I'm going to be focusing on a lot in the next year. I'm going to focus on moving out instead of bringing in. Next up we have my concealer stash, which as always is a bit excessive. I like concealer. I like concealer a lot. So I have my 3 Tarte Shape Tapes here. I have the shades Fair Beige, Light and Fair Neutral. I have 3 of the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate. Where's the third one? I know I do have 3. Where's the third one? There it is. So these are my 3 Conceal and Hydrate concealers. I have 2 in the shade C1 and 1 in the shade 0.5. I have the Conceal and Define in the shade C1, which is almost empty. The Conceal and Define Infinite in the shade C1, which is lightly used. What other Revolution ones have I got? I've got this one, which is amazing. I love this one. This is the Ultimate Coverage Crease Proof Concealer, again in C1. I have two of the Camouflage, full cover Camouflage concealers in C1. These have been discontinued. This is the closest you'll get to this formulation, and this is slightly more illuminating and forgiving under the eyes, so definitely check this guy out if I was going to recommend anything. I also have the XX Revolution. I'm not quite sure what this one's called, but it's in the shade 0.5. And I also have the Revolution Pro Ultimate Radiant Under Eye Concealer. I have 4 from Avon. I have 2 of the Power Stay concealers, which I'm working my way through. I have them both in the shade Fair Neutral. I have the Under Eye Brightening Illuminator in the shade Fair Radiance, which is actually a really nice product. We have the, I'm not sure what this one is. I think this is just called the True Color Concealer Stick, and again, this is in the shade N1, and it's just a sort of stick classic concealer. I have 2 from NARS. I have the Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Chantilly, which is very nice. And then we have the Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Chantilly. And I had this previously in the shade Vanilla, which was a bit too dark. Chantilly is a bit too light, but I did have someone tell me that there's a shade in the middle. So maybe once I've made a dent in all of these, I might pick up the middle shade. I have one from Collection. This is the Lasting Perfection Concealer, the old favourite in shade Extra Fair 0, which when I used to wear this all those years ago, they didn't carry that shade before. I have 2 from L'Oreal. These are both the Perfect Match, with True Match Perfect Match Concealer. I have one in Ivory Rose and one in Ivory. Again, just working my way through those guys. I have a NYX one in Gotcha Covered. This is the shade Ivory. Again, this has been discontinued, but this is very similar to these two. And ultimately, all these products are a dupe of this product. The Lancome Effas Kernes Longu Tenue. I'm not sure how to pronounce the French of that. At least I think that's French. It could be Italian. This is basically their long-lasting softening concealer from Lancome, and I have that in the shade 01. It's amazing, but it's also expensive, so the Revolution Pro one is a very good dupe of this, or if you've got either of these in your collection, a very good dupe of this. We also have the Smashbox High Definition Concealer, which I think I have in the shade Fair. It's very, 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 very worn off. It's an old concealer. I really need to work on that. The Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer, I have that in the shade R20. Again, need to work on using that bad boy up. I have one from number 7. This is the Hydroluminous Dark Circle Concealer. I enjoy it very much. One from MAC. This is the Studio Finish Concealer in the shade NC10, which I've used very, very lightly. And you get a lot of product in this. You get 7 grams. It actually goes almost down to the bottom of the packaging. I have the All Hours Concealer from YSL, which I've made a good dip in, but need to finish. And the original Born This Way Natural Radiant Concealer from Too Faced. This is just the small original size, which has 7 mils, I think, in it. Does it say? Does it say? No, it doesn't. Oh, it does. In the shade Very Fair. And it has 7 mils. So lastly, we have my little concealer palette from Revolution. This is the Ultra Cover and Conceal palette in the shade Light. And I count each individual pan here. Hey, you can see me. but I count each individual pan here as an individual concealer. They do get used. I mostly use them when I'm filming like some kind of tutorial, or sometimes I use them when I'm carving my brows or whatnot, but there they are part of the collection, so they're a part of the video. And that is my concealer stash. A bit excessive, but again, we're working on it.